know security is hard, so let's assume we're probably gonna get pwned by noon. But if we all start to get the basics right, we might not fully get pwned until tonight.
Okay, I think all this stuff is working. Hi, good to see you. Welcome to the 7-Minute Security Podcast. I had a last-minute audio issue, and then a bigger issue, much bigger, is that we're past lunchtime. It's like 1 o'clock Central here, and I have not had mint hot cocoa flowing through my blood yet. So, cheers to you. Nice to see you again. We've kind of moved to this like third Thursday schedule kind of deal. So we'll see how that works. Also, I'm cracking hashes at my feet, so pardon me while I open a window. Good Lord, I'm gonna die of heat exhaustion. Okay, well, I'm really excited. I've been missing doing these live streams, but also trying to create a schedule that works for work and the family. But I'm excited to do this Tale of Pentest Pwnage today and walk you through something that I don't know if it's formally called this or not, but it's nicknamed, at least in my mind, SPN-less resource-based constrained delegation. And I know I'm kind of like doing things a little bit out of order. Pardon the shameless self-promotion of bringing up the 7MS website, but I just want you to have all the information at your fingertips. So inside of our blog, that's where all the show notes for everything live. So last week was actually a teaser for this week, but it ended up being more of a teaser. In fact, it ended up being like a full audio explanation of everything we're about to go through in video flavor. So I point that out because all the commands that you're going to see me do today, maybe I'll just copy and paste them to this show note, but you can find them from last week's episode. Okay. And also, in full disclosure, I should have had like a lower third ready to kind of swoop in. Full disclosure, this attack, I still don't fully understand. And there we go. Imposter syndrome. But rather than me try to do like butt facts and be like, well, actually the Kerberos hash goes into the ticket request for the Badubli. No, it's kind of magic to me. However, a good explanation of everything we're about to go through, if you just Google search for SPN-less RBCD practical, I think that's where I found, whoops. No, not that. You know what? Actually, it's linked, I think, here. There we go. Copy and paste never seems to work great for me once I'm doing this stuff, but let me try in the chat. Oh, and there's some friends. Hi, friends. Let's try this. Okay, it made it into the chat, or you can get it on the episode show notes. But this, I thought, was excellent for walking through the ones and zeros and Kerberos sauce of why the attack works. What I want to kind of get across to you today is like understanding the conditions in which this can actually fire and give you some pwnage. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. So I am on, I'm sitting here, what you're seeing on your screen. This is our training lab environment, which, oh, what's that? What's that? You wanted me to do a shameless self-promotion for our own training? Well, because you insisted, I'll do that. I'll go to the training page here. And like Pentest Lite, we've got a July 16th through 18th session. So it's 3 half days where live, we remote into this very environment and we go through pen testing. We beat up Active Directory. We crack hashes. We pass them. We abuse SQL services. It's a joy. And hopefully people who have been through the class would say the same. But that's the environment I'm in right now to show you this attack and kind of talk you through the narrative of like, how I found it, and then the drama where I was like, oh, this isn't going to work. Oh, wait, it will work. Oh, just kidding. LOL, it's not going to work. Wait. It was really quite a roller coaster with a satisfying ending. So let me walk you through kind of how this all came to be. So on this test, one of the things that I'm always doing in my playbook and encourage you to do as well is use this utility web client service scanner And this has the capability to, sweep whole subnets or lists of hosts, and identifies ones that have the web client service running on them. And I guess just kind of, I don't want to tangent us too much. There are ways, let's put it this way. There are ways to coerce systems into turning it on as well. But I don't know that if I've covered that in the past. If not, I'll cover it on a future Tale of Pwnage. But the kind of the reason we should get excited as offenders is that if we see web client service running on one or more hosts, we may be able to coerce authentication out of them and towards a victim of our choice. Then that might lead to, privilege escalation, or at least delegation rights to impersonate, let's say, an administrator user on an important box. So long and short of it is it's always something we check for. And I hope you don't mind me being a bit of a copy and paste jockey today, but I haven't had the fuel. I haven't had the Mint fuel, so I need it. But I'll talk through everything. So let me find my notes here. So I use Web Client Service Scanner. Actually, I'll just type this one. And you can do this with any, just needs to be a valid Active Directory account. Doesn't need to be domain admin. Doesn't need to have any special privileges. So the format is domain / whatever user. So I've got student one. And pardon me, I didn't change my password from a nickname that I used to give my sister. And that is Fart Face. And I didn't call her Fart Face 2023, but I got to be good security. So I've got the year in there. Fart Face 2023 and then I cannot remember if this tool will take in a list of IPs, but I guess right now, maybe I've been doing it the hard way, but I just kind of sweep one subnet at a time. That's like the typical syntax for me. So this network is all contained in 10.0.7.0. So we'll just sweep them all. Okay. And what we're seeing here is that it is running on 10.0.7.100. Now, one thing that I know that you wouldn't know, because you probably don't know this environment, the reason this is more interesting than usual is that 10.0.7.100 is a domain controller. I had never seen that before. And so that I don't forget to mention it later, I believe in this specific case, what we found out was that on the domain controller, someone had installed, I think it's called the Windows Desktop Experience or something of that nature. And coming along with that install was firing up web client service. So right away, I'm getting the giggities, right? I'm like, oh, cool. If I can coerce authentication, and this is, by the way, just so TTDCO1, that's one of our DCs. That's that guy. If I can coerce authentication out of the domain controller, maybe I can do like a relay attack to another DC over LDAP, and then like get a new machine provisioned that has, godlike access to everything. And I'll be domain admin before you can say fart face. So here's how that would look if I went and did it. Oh, and sorry, before I get to the actual relay attack, here's one more important piece of information to get this particular type of authentication to actually fire. Is that if you're going to try to coerce authentication out of a box and tell it, to relay elsewhere, or to relay to your attacking box, for a lot of these attacks, what the relay target needs to be is what the system would consider trusted zone. And there's several different ways a system can be considered a trusted zone. One of the ways it can be considered in the trusted zone is if it has a DNS name attached to it. And that's something you can do. Let's see, am I cutting off? Let me make this. The smart business people said leave like the lower left thing up so that if random people find this midstream, they know what the heck we're talking about. I don't know if it helps. It seems to annoy me because it gets in my way, but it's fine. It's all good, smart business people. It's all good. So you can do that. Domain users by default can add new DNS records to the domain. So that I did that ahead of time because it can take a little while to propagate. But that would look something. Oh, that's not going to be pretty. Let me do text. Let me show it to you in text for a second and just blow it up. That's going to look. Whoop, zoom. That's going to look something like this using the DNS tool from the Curb Relay. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Repo. I'll just talk you through the context. So I specified just my regular low privilege user, student one, my classic awesome sister insulting password of fart face. And then here is where I specify the record name that I want to add. So I added a record called Bryfly. And I'm saying, yes, I would like to add that as a record, I think is what I'm saying there. Oh, no, there it is. I think this is it. Type, I think, is A. And then these last two bits are the IP you want Bryfly to resolve to, and then the domain controller you want to talk to submit that record. Okay, so we're adding a record called Bryfly. When it gets propagated, it's going to resolve to our Kali IP back here, 10.0.7.7, and we're submitting it for consideration to 10.0.7.100. I'll actually just copy and paste this real quick just so you can see. I'll do Bryfly 2 because Bryfly is already added. Let me just kill that one. Let's try this. Just so you can see kind of what it looks like. Yeah, there we go. Okay, bind OK, adding new record, LDAP, completed successfully. So like I said, I pre-added Bryfly, so that should be resolving to us. There we go. Bryfly 2, probably too soon for it to start resolving, but give it a little bit of time, just so you know, like if you've never done that before, submit it and then give it time. I don't know what the refresh interval is, but come back in an hour and it'll probably be resolving. So now I can do a relay attack where I tell the domain controller, hey, I'd like to coerce authentication out of you to Bryfly, and then that's us. That's our Kali system. We can be ready sort of with the catcher's mitt or maybe like a rubber band, right? We're going to take in the authentication. We're going to pass it elsewhere. So let me clear this off. Let's stage the rest of the attack here. So I'm going to show you how this would, if I was doing this on a pen test, here's what I would try first. So I'd get, First, I would have my terminal completely break. First, I would get into tmux. And I know a lot of you have been saying like for years, yeah, use that for multi-session things. And I'm an old dog and it takes me a while to learn new tricks. But have you guys heard of tmux? It's actually really cool. Have you guys heard of Dave Matthews Band? I think that guy is definitely going places. So in one terminal, and I'm going to be so organized, I'm going to call this relay sauce. Okay. In the relay sauce window, let's get the NTLM relay going, and copy and paste is not my friend right now. So let me do double copy and paste. I'll put it here first, then I'll paste it here. There we go. So I am going to set up my relay so that any inbound authentication, I relay to Apo1. Now, this is I had to do this quick to get ready for the lab, but Apo1 is another domain controller. So I'm taking authentication in from one, I'm relaying to the other. Thinking out loud, I don't know that you have to use two different domain controllers, but I am, because that's just how I did it live. Okay. So we get that set up. Our relay is locked and loaded. Cool. Now let's do the coercion piece. So I'm going to open up a new window. I'm going to title it coerce Pwnage. Why not? And then I'm going to use Coercer, which you can get off of GitHub, of course, of Coerce. Coercer GitHub. You'll find it right there. Okay. I won't go through like downloading and installing that, but that's what we'll use. And let me see if copy and paste will work this time. Okay. Nope. That's old stuff. Okay. Hold on. Apparently between Mac to Mac or Mac to PC. There we go. Kill this, clear that. Here is the coercion piece. Okay, so I'm coercing using my totally normal student one account. I am targeting the domain controller that has a web client service scanner on it, right? That's 10.0.7.100. And I'm saying, I want you to authenticate to Bryfly, or the DNS name that you added semi-maliciously, right? That resolves to my host. So I want to tell the domain controller, please authenticate to me. And this helps just fine tune the attack a little bit. You want the auth type to be HTTP because that's the type of relay that will make this work. So let's hit enter. And that might have worked already. Let me kick over to relay sauce. And this is what we want to see, right? Check this out. So here comes the incoming relay authentication, blah, blah, blah. It was successful. This may take a while to enumerate privileges, yada, yada. Attempting to create computer in computers, tangent town, adding a new computer with this host name and password of blah, blah, blah. That new object has delegation rights over the DC. Hip, hip, hooray, we win. We're like one step away from, being able to secrets dump and that kind of stuff. Okay. So I wanted to show you that. However, there is one very important piece of information that can help or hurt you when you're trying to do this. And that is, I was just talking about it this morning with another client. This working this way relies on the machine account quota value. Yay. And that is once you do if you view the advanced properties on your Active Directory users and computers tool, come into attribute editor, and down here, the default, we've talked about it maybe a jillion times on this podcast, but I'll tell you this, it's relevant every week in conversations that I have. So I'm just saying it again. This is the default for any Windows domain environment, that it's set to 10, meaning any user can add up to 10 systems to the domain. So that's what helps make this work. And like I said, boom, you're one hop away from Pwnage. Now, let me bear with me for just a minute. I'm going to flip over to, I'm going to just drag over really quick the domain controller, and we're going to set this up like the client had it for the test that this was inspired from. Let's just go ahead and down in machine account value 0, blam, blam. And let's see, does that have to update across? I don't know if it does. I'm just going to force it. I don't know that has to, if that is a setting that would replicate, but let's just not tempt fate. Okay. So that is replicated. So let me now reboot. Let's restart the matrix. Let's do that again. Let me kill coercion. Let me kill relay sauce and give a peek into what I was seeing when the machine account quota value is set to 0 and you try to do this. Okay, we'll set the relay once again. Same thing. We want to delegate access. We want to relay the domain controller, cause it to cough up a new machine and use that machine to abuse delegation rights. All right, coercion. Let's try to do coercion again. Hopefully it will work. And there we go. Look at this little turd in our breakfast bowl. So the coercion happened, but attempting to create a computer, failed to add computer, unwilling to perform. Why you make you willing to perform. But this was some of the drama of this test is I was like, oh, what a neat thing. What a neat accolade. You can't add a new machine to a domain, so that won't work. And so I think I'm going to put this to rest. And that's when I went out to colleagues. I talked to probably some of you that are on this webinar and asked for ideas. And that's when I was kind of schooled in a nice way about these delegation attacks and how I think on a pen test, the ideal situation would be what I just showed you. Machine account quota value set to 10. You can relay, create the new computer object, so on and so forth. But when you can't, I believe the sort of second most desirable option would be if you had control of an account that has one or more SPNs tagged to it. Then I think there are also some delegation jujitsu you're able to pull off. But if you're stuck and you strike out with those two things, there's still one more option. And that is an SPN-less attack where you kind of need to sacrifice a user account in order to make the delegation work, but it is possible. Now, I just want to pause here for a minute because now going forward, I'm not going to pretend that I know all the things that make this work. I'm going to be a copy and paste dancing circus animal for you now, just so you can see it, wrap your head around it. And, I want you to walk away understanding that, like me, maybe you would get in a situation like this, think you're stuck, but there is one more way out. Okay. So, and it was this article, this practical guide to RBCD exploitation. You get down to the SPN-less section. Oh yeah, there it is. These are the steps we're going to walk through, but right here, SPN-less RBCD, it's a little more than halfway down the page. Do the deep dive reading here to know what smart people know about this, okay? Okay, so I showed you the relay that worked and then didn't work. But here are the steps you can do. And the reason I think they're calling it that you need to have a sacrificial user account is that when you start working with this account the way that we will, it is going to break, and that you're not going to be able to just log into it with a regular username and password. So I wanted to throw that up as a warning. And if I had a producer, I could like drop in a lower third that's like, don't, if you've gotten an account through curb roasting or password spraying or some other means, this is going to break that for them. So you could potentially be disruptive to services that are running under that account or people who are actively using that account throughout the day. So what I did in this case, because this was so foreign to me, is I just asked the client. I was like, can you give me one more account just to play with? And I mentioned last week on the podcast, it was fun. They were kind of giving me a hard time. They're like, hey, we better get like a good score on this, Pentest, since we're doing all your work for you, kind of thing. But okay, here's what it looks like. So first thing we'll do is let me clear this. Maybe that's a little easier to see. And I think I'm going to have to do proxy copy and paste. There we go. We're going to use get TGT to pull down a ticket for student 1 with a password of fartface 2023, right? All right, so we'll let that go. Notice that drops the Ccache file to disk, right? Then what we need to extract from that, and again, I'm just going to give you like what the steps are. I wish I could fully say I understand the Kerberos magic here, but I don't. But I do know that what we need to pull out of this Ccache file is the ticket session key, and you can do that using describe ticket, or you can copy and paste it 3 times from your clipboard, and third time, yes, nailed it. This is all, by the way, in the Impacket toolkit, everything that we're going to be doing. Okay, so this ticket session key, this becomes critical, and let me copy that let me see if I can copy this way. I can. This is going to become important because you are going to change, you're going to do an SMB password change to this hash value. And that looks like this. Sorry, it gets cut off a little bit with the big font. Maybe it's easier to look at like this. Okay, SMB password, new hashes, and then the new hashes part is, where'd it go? The ticket session key, right? And then your sacrificial account. So after this part, the account is essentially hosed as far as traditional day-to-day use. So say bye-bye to it at this point. Something to just point out right here at this point. Most environments, in fact, I don't think we touched the default for our domain environment, are if you set a password for somebody, I think the default value is they got to wait 1 day to change it. So for the sake of this demonstration, I changed my default domain policy to allow an immediate password change. But if you see an error about something like, I think, domain password policy violation, it's probably is that you're going to have to wait the 24 hours. Because I didn't want to ask my client to make a domain-wide temporary password policy change. So I just waited. But in this case, we're good. Hashes were changed successfully. Okay, and now we do this U2U. Maybe I can look at that on the article really quick. This U2U, which is the Kerberos extension that I think is the pin for all this. Kerberos extension called user-to-user, designed specifically for allowing authentication to a service hosted by a normal account. Here, the role of the SPN is replaced by the universal principal name, which is given to every domain user, and explains it in more detail. Okay, so Let me get my copy and pasty here. So what I would normally do, again, in any environment where I can impersonate a user, I would use a command like, not that. I would use a command like this. Gets a little bit cut off. Maybe I can just look at it in text for a minute. Where as part of the impersonation, I choose that I want to impersonate the administrator, the good old out-of-the-box domain administrator, right? And I want to do it against host DC1. And in this case, I don't need to provide I just need to provide an account. I don't need to provide a password because I'm, providing authentication through the Ccache file. So that is what I would normally do. And that's what I tried first, but check out again, a little fly in the ointment. Okay. So I hit enter and I get an error. And it says probably the SPN is not allowed to delegate by user student 1 or initial TGT not forwardable. So of course I went reading and I was like, well, what is it? Is it a problem with the steps ahead of this? And I had the client reset that password a bunch of times and round we went. And then only then did I actually go and look at the domain users and computers tool. And I looked up the, I had two problems. One of mine was that in this environment, administrator was disabled. That was one error. But then once I attacked a legitimate user, I was getting the error that you see here. And I was like, what is it? Is it me? Is it a fat finger something? Well, no. They had, for all of their high privilege users, they had ticked the box for account. Whoops. Shoot, you're able to see that okay? Yeah, okay. Account is sensitive and cannot be delegated. And I'm sorry, I totally missed the chat. I'll go back in a bit here and then see if there's comments and questions to share. Account is sensitive and cannot be delegated. And they had done this on all the high privilege accounts. So at that point I was like, super interesting learning experience, right? Like now I know kind of how to get this all revved and going, but appears to be dead in the water. And so I was in all these like threads and signal groups I was in. I was like, thanks so much. Yeah, have a good tip your waitress. I'm out. I'm going to go attack some other stuff. And then it was over a weekend. In fact, I was at a dance competition for my son, and it's like, bzz, I don't have my laptop or anything with me, but I get this message that's like, no, you're not dead yet. You can impersonate the DC to the DC. And that's why in the title slide for this webinar, I had the Spider-Mans pointing at each other. I'm like, wait a minute. When I'm choosing who to impersonate on the domain controller, I can just say, I want to impersonate you to you. And this person was like, yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Just tweak your command and specify, instead of impersonating administrator, you impersonate TTDC01 with the $1 at the end. And I was just like sitting on, I was definitely a totally present dad watching dance number after dance number, but there's like one little spinny wheel on the side of my head that's like, steal somebody's laptop and log into the client and see if you can get this to work. You know what I mean? Like one command tweak away from maybe making the whole thing work. So I finally got back that night and I had my window open like this. And so I did up arrow and, that's actually not going to copy paste well, is it? Let me just do it here. I'll just specify, instead of impersonating an administrator, which is, make sure the account is enabled, right? Or make sure it doesn't have the account setting there, right? For account is sensitive and cannot be delegated. Otherwise this won't work. But I'll just choose TTDC01 $. And let's throw that in the air fryer and see how things go. And now I have a, did I chop off part of the thing? Okay, wait. Is that a bad copy and paste, or was that me? Unrecognized arguments. Okay, hold on. Let me go back to the original. What have I done? It can't poop out now. Did DC1? Okay. Nope. And all the delays here. The demo gods have cooperated, but not. There it is. Oh, goody gumdrops. Okay, so then you get a ticket for host TTDC01, and you can now use it to pop an SMB shell on DC01, whatever your heart's desires. And this is important stuff I want to cover at the end, and then I'll look over and see if you have questions and comments that we can share with the group. But I have become extremely nervous to just do like a secrets dump, hash dump against, just give me everything, just dump everything out, because I've seen EDRs get very, very angry about that happening. And so they'll like do things to preserve the attack and like reboot the domain controller. So in a situation like this, or really when I think I've proof of concept TID domain admin access, I do a bit more of a surgical extraction to prove domain admin powers. So I'm gonna copy this guy over and just show you that I use secrets dump, but just to extract a single user. So this is the command that's going to go in. Whoops. I'm going to set my ticket to this one that was just saved to disk, right? From the U2U attack, right? You saw that probably there we go. You saw that get dropped to disk. Am I making that hard to read? No, it's not too bad. Okay. So using that ticket, kick off a secrets dump. Don't ask me for my password because you don't need to. We're going to use secrets dump against TTDC01. And if I did just that much, it would do a full secrets dump. But to be just real gentle in the customer environment, I'm going to say, let's do just the following user, Tommy. And Tommy's a domain admin. So this is just proving, ideally without causing EDR to freak out, this is just proving that I really do have, am able to impersonate domain admin powers. So let's give that a paste. Placow. And look at that. Oh, Tommy likey. Tommy want wingy. And you know what? Just for fun, because it's my lab and I don't care, I am going to try just a full secrets dump. I don't have any EDR. I just have Defender, but I haven't done just a full. I mean, it just makes a person feel good, right? Hear and see those hashes falling out of the DC like digital manna from heaven. Let's do it. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That is so cool. Okay, let's go to the chat and see what's up. I'm sorry, I didn't look at it except when we first got started. So Akutastic says, let's go indeed. DFSec, hello. Zoke, hello. And always down for learning. We do have a couple people. I'm going to put a testimonial up for the class. This is all you need to know right here. Okay. Take it from our friend. Is there anything that I missed? Okay. Sounds like maybe you were commenting on my word vomit. Let's see, Nate, let me see what your comment says here, Nate. I believe the default AD password policy allows immediate rotation. Oh, okay. Okay, so maybe I configured it kind of secure and then unsecured it. Oh, and then Nate says he figured out it is one day. Okay. But yeah, I just tried to point out as much as possible little pitfalls that I ran into, because had it not been for a really cool group of colleagues, I think I would have given up on this from jump, where trying to add a new account via relay didn't work. I guess I just would have figured like, well, that's really the vector I'm most familiar with. So there's nothing else to do. And then let's see, Tim. Oh, and then Tim, you were catching my typo, weren't you? Thank you. Like I said, everything, and I think it's pretty typo free, is in last. So maybe I'll repeat it again in this show notes drop, but this has all the stuff that I was doing. I have had so on the environment that we did this, and some other environments too, where like where you have the ability to add a DNS record. I don't know, comment maybe if you've actually locked that down. I don't think yet I've been in an environment where the controls have gone to that level where they I can't remember. I have it written up on my boilerplate, but there's permissions you can adjust so that domain users can't just add DNS records, but I can't remember. One company said that was problematic when a vendor was trying to install their box and register a DNS record. So I guess my takeaway from that isn't so much to stop this. It would be auditing the environment pretty regularly for anything with web client service running. And as a matter of fact, when we did that farmer episode a while ago, farmer, I think, no, is it web client, probably hacker recipes, talks about, I think it's that one, isn't it? Where you could actually serve up, I think, a certain file. Oh yeah. Was it this? Oh yeah. You drop on the environment. I don't think I've showed this before, but I'll write it up for maybe a future tale of Pentest Pwnage. If on your Pentest, you've got the ability to write to SMB shares, you could drop one of these babies somewhere. And then when people come across and browse that share, it actually starts the web client service. And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think you need to be a local admin on the machine. I think it's just one of those as designed things. So there's just something to stick in your hat as well. If you've not run into this, is that even if you don't see right when you drop on a network, that web client is out there and running on some systems, you might be able to, drop little treats like this out on those writable shares and make the service start up for you. I guess the only kind of annoying thing about that is that you wouldn't ever really know that it got turned on. You'd have to just probably keep sweeping the environment with web client. Is it web client service scanner? Yeah. All right. Well, anything else? Questions, comments, concerns? Oh, hold on. We got one here. Let's see, Nate. Okay. Well, you typed it publicly, Nate, so hopefully you don't mind me putting it up so we can all read along. I believe you and I chatted about the web client service agent. Was that the one with the VPN drive-by with DA? Let me think. Oh, Nate, that was a little bit different. What that one was if I search, and sorry, shameless self-promotion, but I use this selfishly. I use this for myself because I can barely remember what I talked about yesterday. Episode 619, I think, talks about Farmer. That was the one where, kind of like I was just talking about, you drop these little search connector files around the writable shares, and when people come across them in Explorer, it coerces authentication from them to you. So that instance you're talking about, I was able to drop these treats around the environment. They hit them with Explorer. It relayed or coerced authentication from their DA account to my box, which then I relayed to, I think I relayed it that first way we were showing, where we were able to get a new object added, a new computer object added. In fact, we can just see where that guy gets added. I don't think I popped that up. He should just show up in the default computers group. It's an oddly named machine, but it's got delegation rights to act like Neo over the environment. So that was the attack path there. But again, both involve, really both involve authentication coercion. Okay, wow. I am sweating. And so I think that means I've got to calm down a little bit, but I've got this hot cocoa to get to. I guess any other comments, questions, concerns? That actually went really fast. I thought it was going to take longer. So I guess I can do like the cheesy, let me give you 20 minutes back in your day to just, do whatever. But yeah, that's all I've got right now. I'm going to leave this webinar and then go wrestle with Proxmox. Maybe I tell you what, since I have some smart people, some friends here, can I just end on a totally random question that has nothing to do with this? For those of you Proxmox fans, is it true that in order for me to build a Kali box inside Proxmox, I got to do this business? Because I did, and it worked, but I've got to do like a major forklift move and actually spin up new, like a very large environment full of Kali boxes and Windows boxes. And I really thought I'd be able to just like boot my Kali custom ISO that I've worked so hard on. And I thought it would just boot and it would install all the things and it'd be ready to go pen test somebody by afternoon time. But instead, I spent my lunch hour yesterday working through this just to get a vanilla install, not all my tools, not everything else. So I don't know if you know anything about that stuff or if it can be more automated like I used to have on VMware. I will be your best friend. I don't know what I can promise you. Maybe hot cocoa gift cards, a 7MS sippy cup. I have one of those. Yeah, that's what's on my mind. So, all right. I don't hear any chatting. So maybe I've derailed everybody. So I really appreciate you coming on the live stream. Again, we're going to try to do it. Let's see. Oh, Jack in the shop says my Proxmox has only 9 VMs running on a mini PC. Okay, sweet. Yeah. I hear so many good things about it and I want to love it, but I don't feel like I can love it till I can get some VMs going. So I'm working through that. Yeah, please, of course we got the podcast audio that comes out every Friday. And then these things we'll do kind of on a third Thursday basis. So thanks so much for joining. Great to say hi to you and see some of you again. And of course, if you want to chat with, nerdy folks like us more often, you can go to 7minsec.com/Slack. And, everybody likes to click links. You could come there and talk about hacking, defending. We've got a couple different channels for lots of different things. All right. Thanks, DF. Thanks all. Yeah. God bless you. And we'll talk to you later. Oh, and I think my computer just froze. Oh, nope. And we're back. All right. We'll see you. Take care.
You've been watching or listening to 7 Minute Security, a weekly podcast focused on pen testing, blue teaming, and building a career in security. For more episodes like this, visit 7ms.us. And for information about our consulting services, visit 7minsec.com.